Hello everyone, myself Mehkna Saifi and I am pursuing my Bachelor's of Physiotherapy from Jamia Millia Islamia. Today I am going to discuss about knee joint. So basically I am going to cover only the anatomy of the knee joint. So here you go for the topics that I am going to cover. Firstly, features. It is the largest joint of the body. As the name said that it is the large in the size. It is the most complex joint of the body. Its complexity is arise due to the presence of three joints that may result into one joint, that is the knee joint. Complexity is also due to the condyle of the femur is not congruent to the condyle of the tibia. Just like in the hip joint, we see that the head of the femur is completely fit into the acetabulum of the hip bone, that may result into the hip joint, but not same happen in case of the knee joint. So what were those three joints? Lateral femorotibial joint plus medial femorotibial joint plus femoropatellar joint, that is equal to knee joint. So knee joint is basically made up of three joints. Types: condylar synovial joint and one saddle joint. Condylar synovial joint, it incorporates two condylar joints between the condyles of the femur and the tibia. So it is in lateral femorotibial joint plus medial femorotibial joint come under condylar synovial joint, whereas one saddle joint is present between the femur and patella or kneecap. Articular surface: condyles of the femur, the patella and condyles of the tibia. So here we come to know that femur is the common site for the articulation of the other two bones. Its condyle articulate with the condyles of the tibia from below and behind, and with patella in front. Ligaments. Mnemonic for learning all the ligaments of the knee joint are flat PMO. As we all know what is the meaning of flat, so basically here I just double each alphabet in flat, that is FF, LL, AATT, and then PMO. FF stands for the fibrous capsule and fibular collateral ligament. LL stands for the lateral meniscus and ligamentum patelli. AA for the arcuate popliteal ligament and anterior cruciate ligament, and TT for the transverse ligament and the tibial collateral ligament. P is for the posterior cruciate ligament, M for the medial meniscus, O for the oblique popliteal ligament. Fibrous capsule. Capsule, the meaning of capsule is just covering. So fibrous capsule, that is also called as articular capsule, it is a weak, thin and anteriorly deficient due to the presence of quadriceps femoris, the patella and the ligamentum patelli. Femoral attachment of the fibrous capsule. It is deficient, as I have said, anteriorly. Posteriorly, it is attached to the intercondylar line. Laterally, it encloses the origin of the popliteus muscle, and whereas medially, it blends with the deep part of the tibial collateral ligament. Tibial attachment. Anteriorly, it is deficient near tibial tuberosity, where the attachment of ligamentum patelli occur. Posteriorly, it attached to intercondylar ridge. Posterolaterally, it is attached behind the lateral condyle, leaving gap for the passage of the tendon of the popliteus muscle. Ligamentum patelli. So, ligamentum patelli is the central portion of the common tendon of insertion of the quadriceps femoris muscle. So origin and insertion is not same as muscle. It is just basically indicate the attachment of the ligament. Origin is a place obviously from where the ligament originate. So origin is apex of patella, whereas insertion is occur at upper smooth part of the tibial tuberosity. The ligamentum patelli is also related to the superficial and deep infrapatellar bursa and to the infrapatellar pad of fat that is present in between the ligamentum patelli and the infrapatellar synovial fold. Next is tibial collateral ligament or medial ligament. It is the long band with great strength. Originate from the medial epicondyle of femur, insert below. It divides into anterior and posterior part. Anterior or superficial part well separated from the capsule by bursa. It attached below to the medial border and posterior part of medial surface of the tibia. It also cover inferior medial genicular vessel and nerve, anterior part of the tendon of semimembranosus muscle, and is crossed below by the tendon of the sartorius, gracilis and the semitendinosus muscle because its insertion occur at the medial side. Posterior or deep part. It is short and blunt with the capsule and medial meniscus. It is attached to the medial condyle of the tibia. So basically TCL represents the degenerated tendon of the adductor magnus. So what is the meaning of degenerated tendon? Degenerated tendon means torn or tear tendon that have whose the alignment of collagen fiber in degenerated tendon is not ordered. You can see FCL, TCL and other ligaments in this picture. Fibular collateral or lateral ligament. It is a strong and cord-like ligament. Attached to the lateral epicondyle of the femur. Insert at the head of the fibula in front of its apex. It is free from the lateral meniscus and from the capsule because of the presence of popliteus muscle tendon in between the meniscus capsule and the FCL. So FCL basically represent the degenerated tendon of the peroneus longus muscle. Oblique popliteal ligament. It is an expansion from the semimembranosus tendon muscle. It goes upward and laterally, then blend with the posterior part of the capsule to attach the intercondylar line and lateral condyle of the femur. Arcuate popliteal ligament. It is an extracapsular ligament of the knee. It is Y in shape, attached to the posterior part of the head of the fibula and to the posterior border of the intercondylar area of the tibia. Now our next topic is anterior cruciate ligament. So before learning about anterior and posterior cruciate ligament, we come to know what is cruciate ligament. There are very thick and strong fibrous bands which act as direct bond of union between tibia and femur. So it basically help in uniting tibia and femur together. It also maintain antero-posterior stability of the knee joint. So anterior cruciate ligament originate from the anterior part of the intercondylar area of the tibia, from where the anterior word comes. Insertion posterior part of the medial surface of lateral condyle of the femur. So I made a mnemonic here to learn its origin and insertion. So for the posterior cruciate ligament I made PALM, PALM, but for the anterior cruciate ligament it is APML. A is for the anterior part or anterior cruciate ligament, P is for posterior part, M for the medial surface, L for the lateral condyle of the femur. This ligament get tight when extension of the knee occur. So here you can see the picture of anterior cruciate ligament that is present anteriorly on the tibia. Posterior cruciate ligament originates from the posterior part of intercondylar area of the tibia. It inserts at the anterior part of the lateral surface of medial condyle of the femur. So here is the mnemonic PALM. P stands for the posterior part, A for the anterior part, where L for the lateral surface, M for the medial condyle of the femur. It gets tight whenever the flexion of the knee occurs. They both are supplied by the middle genicular vessel and nerve. Menisci or semilunar cartilages. So before learning about menisci, here you can see the picture of menisci that it is in half moon shape. Menisci are fibrocartilaginous disc. They have shape of half moon. They deepen the articular surface of the tibia condyles. Its presence makes knee joint complex as it partially divides the joint cavity into upper and lower compartment. It is also the reason behind its complexity. That joint cavity divided into two compartments, and both the compartments are responsible for different movements. Each menisci has these following parts. These are two ends, two borders, two surfaces. Two ends, the anterior end that is present anteriorly called as anterior horn, posterior end called as the posterior horn. They both are attached to the tibia. Two borders, outer and inner. Outer one is thick, convex, close to fibrous capsule, while inner border is thin, concave and free from any attachment. Two surfaces. Upper surface is concave while lower surface is flat. Upper surface articulate with the femur, while lower surface rests on the peripheral 2/3 of the tibial condyle. So some of the part, that is the peripheral thick part, is vascular, that is supplied by vessels, and the inner part or rest of the part is avascular, that is not supplied by the vessels. Medial meniscus, nearly semicircular, wider behind than in front. The outermost margin is blend with the deep part of the TCL. It has more firm attachment to tibia because it is close to the TCL. Lateral meniscus, nearly circular because the condyle of the tibia, lateral condyle, is circular. Posterior and attached to the medial condyle of the femur through meniscofemoral ligament. It is well separated from the FCL due to the presence of tendon of popliteus and the capsule. The mobility of the posterior end is controlled by the popliteus and by the two meniscofemoral ligament. So here is important note about menisci. Only 25 to 33% of vascularized and innervated menisci are present. The remaining part of the meniscus is avascularized and receives its nutrition from the synovial fluid that is produced by the synovial membrane. So the movement is very important to pass nutrition to this avascularized part by the process of diffusion. Functions of the menisci. So it spreads the load of body weight, reduce friction during movement because it helps in lubrication. It acts as a shock absorber and space filler between the knee bones. It lubricates the joint cavity. They are innervated and give rise to proprioceptive impulses. It also protects and cushions the joint cavity. Transverse ligament, as name said, that it is lying transversely. It is also known as menisco-meniscal ligament because it is connecting two meniscus together. It connects anterior end of both the menisci. It prevents the translocation of the anterior horn passing forwards, and it also reduces pressure that exerted on the menisci. Synovial membrane. What is the synovial membrane? It is a layer of connective tissue that lines the cavity of joint and also makes synovial fluid. So basically synovial membrane present in cover the joint cavity of every synovial joint. It produces synovial fluid that helps in lubrication. Features. It is an inner aspect of the knee capsule that produces synovial fluid to aid in the lubrication of the joint. Approximately 0.5 milliliter of synovial fluid present in a normal knee joint. It is absent posteriorly. In front, it is absent from the patella. It runs upward as suprapatellar bursa. From below, it is separated from the ligamentum patelli through infrapatellar pad of fat. From below, an infrapatellar synovial fold as a median fold extends backward to the intercondylar fossa of the femur, and an alar fold diverges on each side from the median fold to reach the lateral edges of the patella. Now come to the next topic, that is the bursa around the knee. So presence of 12 bursa around the knee joint is also the reason behind its complexity. So what is the meaning of bursa? Bursa basically nothing but it is present between bone and tendon of the muscle and the skin. So it helps in the movement, and it is so basically the simple definition of bursa is that these are fluid filled cavity. So anteriorly these are subcutaneous prepatellar bursa. So prepatellar bursa, as name said, that is the bursa that is present over patella bone. So if it is present over patella bone, then obviously it is subcutaneous. Second one is infrapatellar bursa. So there are two infrapatellar bursa. These are deep and subcutaneous. Suprapatellar bursa is a bursa that is going upward from the patella to the femur side. Suprapatellar bursa. Now come to the lateral bursa. A bursa deep to the lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle. A bursa that is present in between the FCL and biceps femoris and FCL and tendon of popliteus muscle. So here are only two muscles that is present laterally. These are the popliteus muscle and biceps femoris. So bursa is present in between FCL and biceps femoris muscle, FCL and the tendon of the popliteus muscle. Bursa between the tendon of the popliteus and also the lateral condyle of the tibia muscle. bursa between the tendon of the popliteus and lateral condyle of the tibia. On the medial side, a bursa deep to the medial head of the gastrocnemius, very easy to learn. On the lateral side, deep to the lateral head of the gastrocnemius. On medial side, deep to the medial head of the gastrocnemius. The unserine bursa, presence of unserine bursa is also behind the reason behind the complexity of the knee joint. So what is this? It is a complicated bursa which separates the tendon of the sartorius muscle, gracilis and the semitendinosus from one another, and from the tibia and also from the tibial collateral ligament. A bursa deep to the tibial collateral ligament, a bursa deep to the semimembranosus muscle. Relations of knee joint. So anteriorly, posteriorly and medially. So what are the things that is present around the knee joint? Anteriorly, all the anterior bursa, ligamentum patelli and patellar plexus of nerves. Posteriorly, if we see on the middle side, these are tibial nerve and popliteal vessels. Tibial nerve is branch of the sciatic nerve. So it divide into the tibial nerve and common peroneal nerve, but tibial nerve present posteriorly in the middle side. Posterolaterally, lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle, plantaris muscle and common peroneal nerve. And posteromedially, it is medial head of the gastrocnemius muscle, semitendinosus muscle, semimembranosus muscle and popliteus muscle. Medially, sartorius, gracilis, semitendinosus and semimembranosus muscle, and also the great saphenous vein with saphenous nerve. So saphenous nerve is a branch of the femoral nerve. Laterally, as I have told you, that there are the two muscles that is present laterally. These are biceps femoris and popliteus tendon. Nerve supply. Branches of femoral nerve to vastus medialis specially, and also to other two vastus also, that is vastus lateralis and intermedialis. Sciatic nerve through the genicular branches of the tibial and common peroneal nerve. Obturator nerve through its posterior division. So you can learn through the FOS. Blood supply is through the genicular anastomosis. So what is the anastomosis? So it is the connection or opening between two things like vessels. Anastomosis around the knee, which are supplied by the genicular branches of the femoral and popliteal arteries. So wherever the word genicular understand that this is something related to the knee, because genicular means knee. Now come to the most important topic, that is the movement occur at the knee joint. So there are two kind of movement, that is the chief movement and the movement that is accessory, you can say. Main movement or chief movement occur at knee joints are flexion and extension, that is occur in the upper compartment of the joint cavity. Flexion, as we all know, it is decreasing in the angle whenever your leg come towards your thigh. Flexion is done by the contraction of the hamstring muscle. Extension is done by the contraction of the quadriceps femoris or forehead muscle that is present anteriorly on your thigh. They both occur in the upper compartment of joint cavity, that is above meniscus. Rotation is not the main movement. It can only occur when your knee is flexed. Medial rotation of flexed leg done by the contraction of semimembranosus, semitendinosus, gracilis, sartorius and popliteus muscle, because these are all present on the medial side. And lateral rotation of flexed leg only by the contraction of the biceps femoris muscle. Rotation occur in lower compartment of the joint cavity. Now next, locking and unlocking of the knee joint. Locking is occur when your foot is on the ground while standing straight. Medial rotation of femur occurs during last 30 degree of extension, or whenever your leg is in last stage of extension, as in position of attention without much muscular effort. So what is the meaning of this last 30 degree of extension? It basically means when there will be no movement, no any other movement. So whenever your knee get locked, it is completely locked, it is completely locked, that no other movement can occur. So this locking is done by the vastus medialis muscle. So locking for the layman language is basically mean extension of the knee. So extension is done by the quadriceps femoris muscle, but in locking medial rotation of the femur occur. So it is done by the vastus medialis muscle mainly. Reason behind locking is anteroposterior diameter of lateral condyle of femur is smaller than its medial condyle. So whenever extension occur, lateral condyle get fully used but medial condyle remains unused. At this stage, what happened? Medial rotation of femur start happening to use the remaining part of the medial condyle. This may result into locking of the knee joint, means no further movement can occur at this stage. In locking, joint become rigid and ligaments get taut. Unlocking is just exactly opposite to the locking. When person is in the position of stand at ease, then lateral rotation of the femur occurs during initial stage of flexion, where any other movement can easily happen. Any further movement in locking knee occurs only when it gets unlocked or laterally rotate. Unlocking is done by the action of the popliteus muscle. Now come to the clinical anatomy. So clinical anatomy is basically nothing but a clinical condition related to the knee joint. Baker's cyst. It is also called as popliteus cyst, in which fluid-filled cysts form behind the knee. It is occurred due to osteoarthritis of the joint. This condition can cause the knee to produce too much of fluid, which may come outside through a hole in the posterior part of fibrous capsule of joint. It may also cause bulge and tightness behind your knee. Pain may occur when you are active or fully flexed or extend your knee. Second, here you can see how Baker's cyst looks like. Second one is malalignment of patella. As the name suggests, that improper alignment of patella occur in this condition from its original or proper alignment position. Its position may get altered congenitally or due to tightness of surrounding structure. It may give painful condition to the patellofemoral joint. Mostly occur in athletes as an overuse injury. Third one is deformities related to the knee joint. Whenever our legs are not aligned straight at the hips, knees and ankles, there can be an abnormal force across the knee, which may lead to genu valgum or genu varum. So this is how genu valgum and genu varum look like, and how it is different from the normal knee. Genu valgum and genu varum. Genu valgum also called as knock knee and varum also called as bow knee. As you can see the structure, legs get abnormally abducted in valgum and adducted in varum. Individuals are typically unable to touch their feet together in valgum and feet are touching each other in varum. Q angle increases in valgum and decreases in varum. So what is Q angle? Q angle is basically an angle between the long axis of the thigh and the long axis of the leg. So long axis of the thigh is starting from the ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine, to the center of the patella, and the long axis of the leg initiate from the center of the patella to the center of the two malleoli. So angle in between these two lines is called as Q angle. So it get increase in case of valgum, decrease in case of varum. Injuries related to the knee joint. These are injuries to menisci, injuries to cruciate ligament, injuries to collateral ligament. Injuries to menisci is so common. Meniscus tear can occur with forceful twisting or rotation of knee. It is the most common and frequently occurring cartilage injuries of the knee. Symptoms of this injury is obviously pain, swelling. Swelling is because of the overproduction of synovial fluid. To compensate, popping sensation during the injury, difficulty in bending and straightening the leg. So here this is how injuries to menisci usually occur. It is common in sports person like in footballer when they kick a football, and also in non-sports person like during jumping or when they suddenly change their direction while running. Medial meniscus is more vulnerable to injury because of its involvement in rotatory movement, because it is so close to the deep part of the TCL. Lateral meniscus is well protected by the popliteus tendon during any movement. Injuries to cruciate ligament. Injuries to anterior cruciate ligament is more common than PCL because PCL is more strong. It most commonly occurs during sports that involve changes in direction, jumping, violent hyperextension. Injuries to PCL occur in posterior dislocation of the tibia, just like ACL. Injury occurs in anterior dislocation of the tibia. Sometimes not only sprain but tear of the ligament also, which may lead to abnormal anteroposterior mobility. So here you can see how the injury to cruciate ligament look like. Now third comes to injuries to collateral ligament. It occurs when the ligaments are stretched or torn. It is less common and may be produced by severe abduction and adduction strains. Symptoms is obviously pain, swelling, tenderness along the outer edge of the knee, and side-to-side instability while walking. Improper stability or instability while walking. Osteoarthritis, that is also called as OA. So it is nothing but a degeneration of cartilages occur in this, and also the growth of osteophytes. Osteophyte is nothing but a bony growth at the articular ends occur. Growth of osteophyte limit the motion and cause pain while doing any movement. OA is related to aging because at this stage repetitive use of the joint over the years cause damage to the cartilage that may lead to the pain in joint and swelling. It is also occur due to fracture around the joint or due to congenital deformities. If OA left untreated, then bone spur or osteophyte or bony growth occur because now the bone works to create more surface area to support the body weight. So here you can see the difference between normal joint and osteoarthritis. You can see the bony growth or bone spur in osteoarthritis, thinning of the cartilages due to which both the bones comes together, that may also provide friction during any movement in the knee joint. Symptoms: pain that sometimes related to weather also, stiffness, crackles, swelling, joint deformity, tenderness.